Okay, we're up here at our workshop and we're just taking care of our animals that are on brooders today. So I know I've shown these brooders before. We got these designs off of Lumnah Acres, Lumnah Acres. These are some of the ducklings, thank you, Carrie Berkshire, that we hatched out of some eggs a little less than a month ago, or maybe close to a month ago. And so this is how they're doing in here. They're going to be going outside pretty soon. They're not quite ready. You want to get some feed for them?
Yeah.
And then, so what we do whenever we have our brooders is we set them up on a tarp because these pieces come apart. And then, so for the time that we're using the brooder, we fill them with fresh shavings, and whenever the shavings start to look dirty, or they get wet or anything like that, we just top dress them with fresh shavings, and every other time probably we put some diatomaceous earth in there just to make sure that there's no issues with mites or pests or anything. And then the birds, whenever they're in there, they'll get that diatomaceous earth on the their feathers when they're in there, and then that also helps with any of those issues. So we, thankfully, they seem to really like it. So we have, how many? 8. We have 8 ducks in here, and they'll be going out probably within the next couple of weeks or so. We'll be putting them outside. And then we also have our meat chicks that we got about 3 weeks ago. We picked these up about 3 weeks ago because every time I had called on them, they didn't have any. And so although we don't prefer to raise meat birds right in the heat of the summer where their butchering date will be in the summer, but the opportunity availed itself, and Sean and I have alpha gal, so we do go through a lot of chicken. And so I just wanted to show what these birds look like at about 3 weeks old. There is a little guinea walking around in there. Do you want to put their feet in? Mm-hmm. So you just open up the one side. They are very motivated by food. So where's the guinea? Oh, he's over there. So what do we have in here? 30? Did we lose any?
No.
No? Okay, so we bought 30 expecting to lose some, but we haven't so far. You can see that they start to feather out pretty quickly. Some people will say, they're meat chickens, they can't walk towards the end, or they're not very active, or they aren't vigorous, and that has not been our personal experience. It may have to do with the kind that you get and from which hatchery and such, but some will breed where they don't get as many feathers because they don't need them as much. But these ones, probably in another, would you say a couple of weeks even, they're going to be going out into chicken tractors on the field. So you have to wait until the nighttime temperature is steadily a certain temperature where they don't need a heater. If you live in an area where you could still add supplemental heat, like if they're close to an electric source and you can hang a heat lamp in your chicken tractor, they could probably go out earlier. But we wait until they are able to handle nighttime temperatures without a heat lamp. And so when you first have meat birds, they need to, or even ducklings, like any chicks, they can't regulate their own body temperature. And although they look fluffy, they're not able to keep themselves warm. So we use heat trays, but some people will use heat lamps or other sources. What are they? Heat trays, right? And so we just took them out because they don't seem to be needing them as much. And we want to see how they're doing in a covered area without a heat tray. some people will move them out earlier at like 2 weeks when it's really nice and warm outside, but we just wait a little bit longer. And when you first get your birds, they need to be at like 95 degrees. And then every week you're going to decrease the temperature about 5 degrees, or they can handle a temperature of about 5 degrees lower. So, the next week it's 90 and then 85 and then 80. And we're in the 90s every day. So they could definitely handle daytime temperatures if we wanted to put them out, but it's kind of a lot of work to put them out and then just go collect them and bring them back for the night. So we just make it easy on ourselves and we don't put them out until they're able to handle those nighttime temperatures. And they just get fresh food and water every day. Same things, like these shavings are still very dry. We will add fresh shavings probably tomorrow to the top. And then once they leave here, we will take these panels up and we'll take all of the shavings that collected all of their droppings, and we will put them to compost and age a bit before we use them in our garden. Or we may end up using these at the very bottom of new garden beds. They have some time to break down before your plants are, the roots and everything are touching them. And the reason for that is because chicken manure, although it is great for your garden, is also like a hot manure. So it can burn your plants. Whereas like rabbit manure, sheep manure is a cold manure, and you can use that immediately. But certain animals, you have to kind of check to see which ones need to be aged and which ones are can you use right away. So nothing really goes to waste. All of the shavings get used, everything gets used, and then this is a very easy cleanup. So I say easy, but you're the guy that usually does it.
Oh, it is easy.
It is easy, yeah. So we end up breaking these down. They kind of fit together. Can you show with your hands how they go together? It slides, like that whole part slides up and it has like a notch. Yep. And then so these are easier to store because you're just storing the flat panels. And like you saw in one of the other videos, we added this middle section where we slide another middle panel that looks like this, that has a netting. It looks like this one. And that slides right down the middle. So if we had different age birds, or we wanted to keep them separated by breed or anything like that, we would be able to do that. And so potentially this can act like 4 brooders instead of just 2. We love this design. This has been working out great for us. I actually kind of wish we had another one, but it's been great. So anyhow, I just wanted to give you a window into what our birds look like at about 3 weeks old. And then within the next couple weeks, they'll be going outside onto fresh pasture. The other thing is they're so small that even though they're in a chicken tractor that's on the ground, because they're so tiny, they have the ability to kind of squeeze through smaller spaces. So if our wheels on our chicken tractor were not completely touching the ground, or if you're in like a bumpy area where you have like a rut, or they would be able to get out of that chicken tractor. So we wait until they're just a little bit bigger, and they grow so fast that that seems to work out well for us. And then the last month or so, they are out on fresh pasture every day. Up until they're being processed, and they have a great little chicken life out there. So that's it. Like, subscribe, and share to Full and Family Farm to follow the adventures of our family of 8 that moved cross country to the Missouri Ozarks to start a farm with no experience at all.